Welcome to this episode of the Guilty Parent Club series. I'm Dr. Jo Muller, clinical psychologist and host of the Guilty Parent Club. I've included here some lovely feedback from parents who've been part of the Guilty Parent Club. Some of the quotes have been voiced by actors, but rest assured, everything that's said was really said by parents who came along to the club. I hope you find it reassuring and helpful to think about whether the Guilty Parent Club might be right for you, and I would love to see you in the Guilty Parent Club soon.
I do think it has been brilliant. It's been really helpful. Like the podcasts have been really, really helpful. I found that just listening to them was calming. It helped me kind of think things through and stuff. It's really helped with taking a pause before reacting, kind of trying to see things from their point of view when they're arguing or having a meltdown or things like that.
I've really enjoyed the course. It's really kind of helped. We're definitely moving in the right direction, but it's just a bit more confidence, a bit more kind of techniques to use and ideas and ways to deal with the difficulties that made it easier. I think for me, particularly having a language, I think really helped. The understanding of what I was trying to achieve and what the path was to get there, I think really helped. I think a phrase that comes back to me a little bit more, it's kind of it's percolated and kind of come out a lot more, is kind of getting on their side. The idea about trying to work with them, trying to see it from their point of view, I think is really helpful.
Before I joined the club, you sort of think you're on your own private island. People are probably going through the same thing, but it's a very distant sort of, you just think you're doing everything badly, at least I do. I'm not doing it the correct way and it was interesting to be with other parents who are going through the same thing so you can relate. And I think that really sort of helped me along, just that feeling of, okay, so I know that everyone else is feeling and thinking the same thing. I'm not alone. I'm not this terrible mother that I've kind of conjured up in my head. And mistakes are completely normal and they're going to happen over and over again. And to just, not beat myself up about it. But yeah, I think it's definitely the personal stories. So I think it's relatable. It's completely relatable.
What spoke to me was your scientific approach. Of course, the other side is the emotional. And I think this was a good journey for me, even though I wanted to focus on the scientific things. It showed me that other emotional side of myself, of my partner, and of the kid. It gave also like a bit of a common language to talk about things. So I think that helps maybe in general if you want to raise a kid well together.
I was coming into it thinking I just needed more tools, how to deal with the kids. I need better framework, understand how to manage them better. But actually, I think the biggest takeaway is that I need to look at myself more, it's more like my triggers and my kind of beliefs and values and how I've been brought up and, how I've been parented. It's got much more of an impact on how I act than how the kids are acting, if you see what I mean. So that was my biggest takeaway, because I was literally coming in just I just need tools. I'm good. I just need some extra tools in the toolbox, kind of mentality. And so I would say to myself a year ago, it's you that's going on the journey, not the kids, sort of thing.
When I was reading about, the guilty parent, I was like, well, I don't feel guilty. Why would I feel guilty? So I was a bit skeptical. I started going through all the materials. A lot of things started being useful. Now I'm like, okay, maybe now it's time to better apply all of these. I think it has been really important in the last couple of months to listening to everyone's experience, mainly because every time we go around with friends and we say, is it only us? This makes us feel a little bit better and also make us feel a little bit better towards our son. So I really appreciated it.
For me, I think the big thing I feel I'm aware of at the moment is starting to be a bit more sort of self-compassionate in terms of parenting. So when me and my husband were talking about doing the course, I remember I said at the time, but it's the biggest thing we're doing, parenting. So why wouldn't we invest in that when we'd maybe invest in a gym membership or something? And I'm so glad we did. I plan to just keep listening to the podcast because I think it's just having it in your head all the time is so helpful. Because every 2 weeks I'm listening to something that makes me think in different ways. And because there's so much noise about parenting in the media and then in, the worlds we're in, if that noise is quite big in your head, it's helpful to have something to remind you to follow your gut instinct. And I think this has helped me with that. And I think I'm much calmer as a parent in some ways because I can switch off some of that noise because I'm thinking, no, I think this is right from what I'm feeling about my child. And so the self-compassion, I think's really been great for me.
One of the things that looking back, like I feel that by having accepted the guilt and the feelings and the imperfections, I've improved my attachment because I have accepted myself in my various versions, which has created this virtuous circle. I was actually telling my brother about it. I was telling him about our club and how this has really changed totally for me.
It's a combination of factors that I think have brought about improvement, but one of those things is probably being more aware of what's going on and accepting that, it's not all my fault. Accepting those things about yourself as well, and then being able to repair. I think that's something that we're probably more actively doing now. If I do, completely lose my rag and then I go, oh, I got really cross then, didn't I? And I think that my son is starting to be able to do that as well. There are lots of concepts and tools that are kind of floating around in my head that are more available to me than before this started.
Well, to summarize and articulate all the benefits of this course, I really enjoyed it. I found it very rich in terms of content. I think you gave us so much to reflect on. I really enjoyed the specular aspect of the keys. So the important reflection on our children as well as reflection on ourselves and the importance of understanding our needs, understanding our values, trying to cope with stress. And I think probably would be much more challenging if I didn't have done this course, giving us new tools, new understanding, new awareness. Yeah, I really enjoyed the group. I think I learned a lot also from other, and also we laugh a lot on our own, difficulties and fun experience, as well as the challenges we face. Maybe one really big win, it's really the importance of the co-regulation. I definitely feel that whenever I try to regulate myself better, I also see the results very quickly with the kids. I mean, it's challenging at times, especially when we are tired or we face, lack of energy, but I think it's very important.
Just to reemphasize, the whole science-based enough but practical enough that it's like you can just try things tomorrow and that you don't have to think way too long and hard. And so, I think the difference is that I actually have like some tools in the bag, which I felt like I was just making it up before and just trying things and just watching things on, I don't know, on Instagram or YouTube, and then just, but really, do I really trust that? Do I believe that? And just not really knowing what to do and just making it up. I actually feel like now I've got some very practical tools that I can whip out. So just a massive thanks to you, Joe, for doing this. And we were both saying, wow, this has been so good. And definitely feel like you're onto something with the Guilty Parenting Club, and that this could just help so many people, and I hope that lots more people get to experience what we did.